Hello, it's Lord Slar coming to you today with another video, and the topic of today's is the top 5 Russell T Davies stories, the ones that he wrote, not just in his era. So, while I do like Russell T Davies's Doctor Who much more than Moffat's Doctor Who in terms of their era, not the biggest fan of the person. I mean, I don't dislike him, but he made one or two choices, with Doctor Who, which I really don't agree with, and some that I just outright really don't like. But still, his era, I would give a average at worst, slightly good at best if I was feeling generous. It really depends, but there are some good stories in it. There's just a lot of horrible stuff which adds to the lore in a negative way, in my opinion. But still, let's be positive because today we're talking about the best of his era, at least what was written by him, because there are obviously other episodes not written by him which are good in his era. But anyway, let's get into this top 5. So at number 5 we have Boomtown. So one thing which always confuses me about this episode, ever since broadcast to this very day, is why people really don't like it. I mean, it constantly ranks among some of the worst of New Who, and I never get it. I mean, sure, it's not the best thing ever. This is kind of just, yeah, more or less as a filler, but it's a really enjoyable episode. I certainly had a great time watching it. I mean, it poses a decent, philosophical question with can they, send Margaret, whatever her name is, to a death? Or whatever this name of the is, I honestly can't remember, which was quite topical at the time because I believe it was Abu Qatada. It's somebody they wanted to deport, but he was going to face, or possibly face, the death sentence if he was sent where he was wanted, so we couldn't get rid of him. So it was very topical, and it was a very interesting story, which I did thoroughly enjoy. And plus, I really liked the TARDIS team in this episode. I mean, Rose wasn't too bad. I mean, this is one episode where I actually kind of like it. I mean, I usually hate Rose, and in most of season 2 I can't stand her at all, but in this story she's pretty good. And Captain Jack, he should have been in New Who more. I absolutely love his character. And Mickey, he's okay in this one, but it's just enjoyable to watch them because like Billy Piper, John Barrowman, and Chris Eccleston have a great chemistry together, and it is thoroughly enjoyable to watch. Even if it isn't the best thing ever, it's something I'll just flick on once in a blue moon and have fun. So at number 4 we have Midnight. What a brilliant story. I can't believe Russell T Davies actually held back from releasing this at first because he wasn't sure people would like it. God damn was he wrong. It has, one of the most critically acclaimed Doctor Who episodes, well, at least of Russell's era, and it is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's just the fact that it manages to hold 45 minutes with just a few actors in a little bus. Like, that's it, that's the story. But it manages to be really compelling, somewhat scary, and incredibly atmospheric. And it's an episode that I can just really get my teeth into, and it's companion light, which I quite enjoy. I wish we had more episodes where it's just the Doctor, because I'm quite a big fan of Deadly Assassin in this. So I would like to see more companionless episodes, and this was a really enjoyable one. Great atmosphere, great characters, thoroughly enjoyable, and that's why it comes in at number 4. So at number 3 we have Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways. So before you start freaking out at your screen and just telling me, go fuck off, why isn't this at number 1? Let me explain why it isn't. It would be at number 1 because it's a fantastic story. It's just the ending's a bit of a cop out, and just magic powers reverses everything. That's a few instances of that in Russell T Davies finales, which I can't stand, and also the moments with Rose on Earth are just yeah, and take you right out of the story, and it's just an atmosphere killer. But other than that, this episode is brilliant. It's a really dark one, and it knows how to do them. Just abducting humans and harvesting them for cells to make more Daleks, and the Emperor thinking he's God, for doing this because he's been stuck in the middle of space for 1,000 years. It's excellent. Eccleston's performance is absolutely brilliant, and it's just really good because the stakes get higher and higher. It builds up very well. It's not rushed at all. It just works with the Daleks getting closer and closer and just massacring people. It's really dark, especially that moment where the Daleks, instead of going up to complete their objective, go down just to kill the humans. Which I have to say, that is the Daleks. That is absolutely brilliant. That was great writing by Russell T Davies, and probably the standout moment of New Who, or at least one of them. And yeah, so this is an absolutely brilliant story. It would be at number 1 if it wasn't for a couple of things which just really take me out of the story. But it is still really close to being at number 1 because the next few are kind of close together. But that's why it comes in at number 3. So at number 2 we have The Waters of Mars. This is what you call a Doctor Who episode. Base, people there, get picked off one by one by some unknown agent. I mean, come on, it's your traditional base under siege story, and it's done fantastically. Because as a person who's a big fan of the '60s, especially Troughton's era, I love this kind of story, and it works well here. I really like the Flood; they're quite a good villain. The way that the water can like open doors because it's clever, and also like just the way it kind of augments the humans when like comes part of them with like the cracked lips. They're kind of human but clearly not, and that is always quite an unsettling kind of thing when they do that. And yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic base under siege episode. People die as they should. Personally, I don't like the Time Lord victorious bit, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other Russell T Davies endings. And yeah, it's a pretty good story, thoroughly enjoyable, and that's why it comes in at number 2. So at number 1 we have Turn Left. Turn Left is an absolutely phenomenal episode, and I've really got to congratulate RTD on this. I mean, sure, I'm a bit of a sucker for both dystopias and parallel universes. I mean, hey, Inferno's my favourite episode. Of course I'm going to like Turn Left, but it's still got plenty of its own merits. Basically, it's kind of a look at what would have happened if Donna didn't meet the Doctor, and basically the Doctor dies, and what goes on from then. And it's funny how shit just goes down on Earth, especially in the UK. Like, we just get absolutely wrecked because London gets destroyed by the Titanic and all that, and America gets ruined by the Adipose because they choose to go there instead of the UK. Yeah, it's a really good episode and quite harrowing, especially when like those people get taken away to a concentration camp, and it's really dark and really enjoyable, really atmospheric, and Donna's character is at her best in this story, and it's an absolute pleasure to watch, and one which I can put on anytime, one which I've liked since day one, still like today, and definitely RTD's best script, and that's why it comes in at number 1. And I hope you enjoyed this list, and see you back next time where I don't know what I'll be doing. Could be top 5 worst RTD. It depends if I can be bothered to go through and watch the bad RTD episodes, because I'm not sure if I can, because I absolutely hate them. But oh well. See you next week.